Commander Zexthal studied the tactical display with 4 eyes narrowed in confusion. The human fleet hung in space before them, their vessels crude and angular compared to the sleek bioships of the Galactic Coalition. What puzzled him most, however, were the weapons readings. "Are these scans accurate?" he asked his weapons officer, a crystalline being whose form shimmered with each word. "Confirmed, Commander. The humans are using kinetic projectiles, chemical explosives, and electromagnetic pulse weapons. Nothing beyond 4th-generation technology." Zexthal's mandibles clicked in what his species considered laughter. "Primitives. We're fighting with plasma lances and quantum disruptors while they're still throwing rocks." He turned to his communications officer. "Hail the human, Commander. Perhaps we can avoid unnecessary bloodshed." The view screen flickered to life, revealing a weathered human woman in a simple military uniform. Her eyes held a strange mixture of resignation and determination that made Zexthal's confidence waver slightly. "I am Admiral Chen of the Terran Defense Force," she said without preamble. "I assume you're here to inform us of our impending doom." "Admiral, I am Commander Zexthal of the Coalition Enforcement Fleet. Your species has been marked for containment due to your aggressive expansion into restricted sectors. However, I am authorized to offer terms." "Save it," Chen interrupted. "We've heard the speech before. The Viridians said the same thing before we glassed half their fleet. The Nexari were particularly condescending about our primitive weapons before we boarded their flagship." Zexthal's confidence cracked. "You defeated the Viridians?" "The Nexari, among others." "Tell me, Commander, what powers your beautiful ships?" "Zero-point energy matrices, of course. Clean, efficient, virtually unlimited power." Chen smiled, and Zexthal felt his 4 hearts skip a beat. "And your weapons?" "Quantum destabilizers that can tear apart matter at the subatomic level. Plasma conduits that channel stellar fire. Gravitational manipulators that can crush a moon." His pride in coalition technology was evident. "Impressive," Chen said. "One question, what happens when we detonate an electromagnetic pulse in the middle of your fleet?" The question hung in space like a death sentence. Zexthal's mind raced through the implications. Zero-point matrices relied on quantum coherence. Plasma conduits required electromagnetic containment fields. Gravitational manipulators needed processing power that depended on delicate circuitry. "You can't possibly," he began. "Admiral, incoming projectiles," his sensor officer screamed. "They're not targeting our ships, they're targeting the space between our formations." The human fleet had launched dozens of crude rockets, each one detonating in brilliant flashes of electromagnetic energy. The coalition ships went dark one by one, their sophisticated systems failing as ancient electromagnetic principles overwhelmed their quantum-dependent technology. "You see," Chen's voice continued calmly as emergency lighting flickered on across the coalition fleet, "every species eventually develops clean, efficient, advanced weapons. They abandon the old ways because they're messy, inefficient, and crude. But we humans? We remember our history. We remember that sometimes the best way to kill your enemy is with a rock." Zexthal watched in horror as human ships, still fully functional with their primitive but hardy technology, began moving into attack formation. Their kinetic weapons didn't need complex targeting systems. Their chemical explosives didn't rely on quantum coherence. Their electromagnetic pulse weapons were specifically designed to destroy the very technology that made other species powerful. "The thing about fighting with sticks and stones," Chen continued, "is that they still work when your enemy's plasma rifles are just very expensive paperweights." The coalition ships hung helpless in space, their crews frantically trying to restart systems that had been fried by weapons their ancestors had abandoned millennia ago. Zexthal realized with growing dread that humanity hadn't failed to advance. They had simply been clever enough to remember that sometimes the oldest solutions were the best ones. "Surrender now," Admiral Chen said, "and we'll let you keep your pretty ships. Continue this fight, and you'll learn why humans are the only species still using outdated weapons." Zexthal reached for the surrender beacon with one trembling appendage. Some lessons, he reflected, were learned too late.